This K&N air intake system is designed to increase vehicle power and acceleration by reducing restriction in the intake path. The 772578KS intake kit fits the 2010 Ford Flex with a 3.5-liter engine, as well as additional vehicles identified on the K&N website or catalog. K&N power testing of this air intake showed a gain of 9 horsepower at 4,914 RPM. With the kit installed, we ran the vehicle on the dyno to test the sound comparison versus the stock intake. The kit includes components that have been designed or matched to the needs of the vehicle to produce a safe horsepower increase. Detailed installation instructions are included with this kit. The tools needed for this install are shown. Turn off the ignition and disconnect the negative battery cable. Release the locking tab and then disconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Release the locking tab and then disconnect the crankcase vent tube from the factory intake hose. Disconnect the evap hose from the check valve. Loosen the hose clamp which secures the factory intake tube to the throttle body. Release the 2 upper air box latches. Disconnect the factory intake tube from the throttle body, then remove the upper air box and intake tube from the vehicle. Remove the fresh air duct cover from the core support. Remove the 2 bolts which secure the fresh air duct to the core support. These bolts will be reused. Lift up the lower air box to dislodge it from the mounting grommets, then remove the lower air box and fresh air duct from the vehicle. Remove the airbox mounting grommets from the airbox mounting bracket. Install the K&N filter adapter onto the heat shield and secure it with the provided hardware. Install the provided edge trim onto the heat shield. Some trimming of the edge trim will be necessary. Install the provided rubber-mounted studs onto the airbox mounting bracket. Be sure to install each rubber-mounted stud with 2 large fender washers and 1 rubber washer. Fender washers should be on each side of the bracket. Set the K&N air filter into the engine compartment. Set the heat shield onto the rubber-mounted studs, then secure with the provided hardware. Install the K&N air filter onto the adapter and secure with the provided hose clamp. Be sure to place the large fender washers on top of the rubber-mounted studs so that they are between the heat shield and rubber-mounted studs. Install one of the provided silicone hump hoses onto the throttle body and secure with the provided hose clamp. The silicone hose is a tight fit onto the throttle body. Install the 90-degree vent fitting into the intake tube. Install the remaining silicone hump hose onto the intake tube and secure with the provided hose clamp. Remove the 2 screws which secure the mass air sensor to the factory airbox. Then remove the sensor from the airbox. Install the mass air sensor into the intake tube and secure with the provided hardware. Remove the fresh air duct from the factory airbox. The fresh air duct is tightly secured to the airbox. Once the locking tab is prayed back, the fresh air duct will dislodge from the airbox. Install the fresh air duct into the heat shield and secure it with the factory screws in the original location. Then reinstall the cover onto the core support. Install the intake tube into the silicone hose at the throttle body and onto the filter adapter. Then secure with the provided hose clamps. Connect the factory crankcase vent tube to the intake tube. Attach the provided evap hose onto the fitting on the intake tube. Then attach the open end to the evap check valve. Reconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Reconnect the vehicle's negative battery cable. Double check to make sure everything is tight and properly positioned before starting the vehicle. It will be necessary for all K&N high-flow intake systems to be checked periodically for realignment, clearance, and tightening of all connections. Failure to follow the above instructions or proper maintenance may void warranty. This intake kit is not legal for highway use in California or other states adopting California emission standards.